Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I figured even though I'm not really going anywhere because I did laundry today and tomorrow's the day I move on from the room. I'm about to do my workout, but I did want to give myself some content to listen to while working out. I don't know. Don't think there's anything on the internet worth watching right now. Um, so yeah, man, just wanted to give y'all a therapy session. First of all, I'm feeling okay. Ready to move on from the room. It's been good, but this room has a bit of an insect issue that most of the other rooms don't have, so yeah, I'm not going to be sad to see this one go. Plus the shower doesn't push as hard as most of the other rooms. It's kind of like a lighter kind of rain, so you're in there for twice as long trying to get it clean. Not the greatest feeling, but I'm thankful that I have a shower and a room to lay in and all these different things, especially in situations that we're paying attention to around the world where there's literally nothing for me to complain about. And so I want to make that very clear. What makes me uncomfortable would make somebody else very, very happy, and that's always necessary to say, especially in a world like this where we watch Benjamin Netanyahu come and address our Congress and they all give him polite claps like we're in some movie about dystopian nightmares. And I don't know, man. I just figured this would be a good day to step in and say something just to document that happened on this day. And you know, man, somebody who's been paying attention to this genocide as closely as I have, it's not really much to surprise me at all, or nobody's really getting anything over on myself at this point in regards to how much I should trust our government or the two major branches, parties in this country, and how compromised they are. It's already documented on this channel a million ways over. If you guys know me, you know I'm not buying nothing or surprised by what I saw today at all. You know, Benjamin Netanyahu essentially said all the people protesting outside were bought and paid for by Iran. I don't know. I guess he wants to pass the buck off to Iran for you know, instead of justifying reasonable thought, which is you're a crazy madman that kills children and people don't want you to do that, so they're going to protest anytime you're anywhere. And you know, this is what it is, man. I wish I were in DC able to help with that process, adding another voice to the situation. Of course, they doing what they do to everybody when you do that type of thing. Protests, and then they come out there and treat you like you're a terrorist and tear gas you to hell, and you know, all type beat the hell out of you. So we saw the footage, you know, copy and paste, the same way the police always treat protesters is the way they treated those people outside of Washington D.C. today. Copy and paste. You know, Israel has a right to do whatever they want to do, and the rest of us have no right to be upset about it in any way, shape, or form. It's just an upside down world that is in dire need of reform. And you know, I saw more footage today as well of, you know, police brutality, and they were beating the hell out of someone who was on the ground, kicking them in the head in the UK. Look like some guys who were probably from the Middle East somewhere, and of course they label them as terrorists, and then from there treat them like terrorists. And it's just like, yo, as a black person, we've been telling you that they do this for years. Now you get to see them actually do it to somebody else other than us, and you get the full vibes. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but like, once they start doing it to people who are skin a little lighter than those from Africa, and then you start having more people actually give a crap. But when it's done to people who are dark skinned, they really don't care. And that's something we all need to work our way through, not just in this country, but in many countries all over the world. Even in Africa, where black people treat their own worse than they treat white people. Situations like this, Palestinian people and the Arab people are a bit lighter than those who have been telling you this has been happening in our streets. So people give more of a care. Sort of like that meme that comes from Family Guy. You hold up the thing with the different shades, and the lighter it gets, the more it's acceptable. The darker it gets, the less it's acceptable. That's kind of what this is. Police brutality and the methods of white supremacy is something that my people have been telling y'all about for a long time. But you finally get it now that you're seeing it being pointed at someone else, and I think that's fine. You know what I mean? I hate to see it done to anybody, but I'm not going to be the black person that sits up here and say, and I don't care about them having it happen to them, because see, we've been telling you about it all this time. No, it's more so like, yeah, everything that they're doing to these people, they've already tried on us first. They worked all of these methods out, all this sickness, all these evil things that they're doing to the Palestinians. They've already done it to people of darker skin all over for years. And so, you know, these methods, they're not new. They're not new. None of it. Nothing that they're doing is new. And, you know, beating people up, labeling them terrorists, and then proceeding to treat them bad. and then treating people who stand against that bad. I mean, we've been seeing this already. We saw this in apartheid eras in South Africa. You've seen this in the civil rights movements in the USA, and I think it's now time for this generation who's paying attention to this particular thing to go back and dig into the history books of those circumstances and start to kind of skim through what it is there is to see, and pick through it with a fine-tooth comb, and you'll find out a lot of these plays that they're running are the same plays they were running then. Nothing new, man. The same thing they're doing to Hamas is the same thing they did to the Black Panthers, man. It's the same thing, same playbook. Act dystopian. I know you are, but what am I? Every accusation is a confession. All of this stuff has been seen before. Malcolm X told you about this. So many different people have told you over the years about this. Mandela's told you about this. This is nothing new. They're working the same plays on new people. And it's unfortunate, but at least people care now, or at least some do. Now they're going to have to start doing it to people even lighter so that the rest of America and the rest of the Western world who only cares about white skin can actually care. Because for now, people still don't care. They really don't. But the lighter they get, the more care you receive. And that's ultimately what it's about, man. I keep telling people, you need to pay attention to what's going on here, because the same person who's doing whatever they're doing to your people, they're likely doing to these people. And if they haven't gotten around to your people yet, they're going to. They're going to. And so that's really what it is, man. You got to stop white supremacy in its tracks. You got to stop Zionist supremacy in its tracks. You have got to scold this behavior. You got to start throwing people in prison who engage in this type of behavior. And I'll say this about our Congress and those who were up in there clapping today. I know you're compromised. I know that. I know this is not only you receiving money from AIPAC, but also threats to reveal what you're guilty of. I know that. I know it. I can feel it. I don't need to know what. I just know that. It's there. That's all that needs to be said about that. So, at the end of the day, man, Benjamin Netanyahu is one face. He's one figurehead. He's likely going to take the fall, while the rest of the people who are complicit in this scurry about and pretend like they never had anything to do with this later on. We need not let that happen, because that's also a play that's been run before. They're going to let him fall for all of this. They give him the chair or give him life in prison or something like that, and then scurry about and do a bunch of PR management on whatever circumstances they're involved in, and then scurry about and say, see, we're ready for reform, we're ready for the people. That's what they're going to do like 6-7 years from now. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Throw all of them in prison. Every single last one of these individuals who were compromised to the degree where they were clapping in that room or paying money to that man for his agenda and killing children and killing the Palestinian people, they literally all need to be in prison for the rest of their lives. You treat terrorists like terrorists. And if the punishment is worse, then you give them worse. Because that's the only thing that's going to actually deter this, people of the world. Your protests and all of those things, they raise awareness, but your activity against those who commit these crimes is what ultimately will either deter the behavior or tumble forward likelihood that someone else will try this later on, or these same people will try this later on. So that's really what it comes down to. You would want to throw me in prison for 1,000,000 years for whatever you thought I did wrong. You need to do the same thing to each and every one of those individuals in that Congress. You need to, whether you know it or not. And America, look, your credibility is in the toilet, man. Too many people are paying attention to what you're doing here. You better go back to the drawing board. You better come up with something better than this. You had better tell everybody that you're afraid Israel's going to use atomic bombs and nukes on everybody. You'd better come up with something. Because if you don't come up with something, this is the end of the road for basically the America you know it to be. The word is going to spread from here. The evidence is going to be shown to everybody. And eventually, slowly but surely, boomers are going to, that can't be changed, the minds that can't be changed, are going to die. And the new people are going to come up who are less likely to be conflicted or confused by the propaganda that's been used on those boomers. That's what it really comes down to. You ain't got that much time left. People in my generation, we're not confused. People underneath me, definitely not confused. You're not going to be able to do this much longer. That's basically what I'm telling you. You better come up with something. Meanwhile, other superpowers who are much more educated than us, likely more disciplined than us, and less likely to be compromised by frivolous nonsense and sin than us, are going to come up and take everything we have. It's coming. And your army and all of this, you ain't gonna have half of the army you think you're gonna have, because most of them people gonna be raised in this generation where you hold no credibility, so they're not gonna want to give their lives for you. All these religious things that draw people to Israel, Christian beliefs that Israel's the good guy, and that's debunked. Israel's showing us they're not the good guy. They're showing us they're not the real Israel. They're showing us that there are a bunch of people from all over the world that just want to come together to rule the world and commit genocide, and will use religion as a means of getting all of us to believe in them. And will take the money that they've embezzled from all of us in various different ways, like the stock market, and look what they did in Sudan with the diamond money and all of that stuff that they've used, and sodomizing and pinning people against each other and taking the loot from those fights. All of the different things that Israel's been doing over the years is going to be revealed. So the guise of this is a religious duty that a Christian should have, that's going to die very soon. It's only going to be a few people who are going to be able to stand in hatred and move forward in hatred in an environment where that's not going to be something that's going to be very popular. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work. It's bad for business. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is, man. I understand that Netanyahu right now is flying high. Eventually, those who are going to turn on him, they're going to make him the fall guy. And then those who are complicit with him are going to fall back. That's when you go back. That's when you make sure you don't let them do that. That's what I'm basically saying. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Find out who every single one of those people are. Find out exactly what it is that Israel, AIPAC, and Netanyahu has on them that would have them sitting up there clapping when they know damn well this ain't going to age well. Yeah, they're compromised completely. They're afraid of something that they're guilty of being revealed to the rest of us, and ultimately having them in prison or worse, which is what they deserve for being complicit with this any damn way. So that's literally it, man. You see as many people died in the hands of someone who did this, and then you welcome him into your building and all this. Everybody in that building, except for the lady that was holding up the sign, that Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, probably needs to be given the maximum penalty of whatever being complicit to thousands of people dying actually is. That's what they need. It's exactly what they deserve. Nothing short of it. That's normal, mind you. Because I know they're going to try to make it seem like that's not normal. Well, wait a minute. I mean, these are your officials. These are your public officials. No, these are criminals. These are criminals who've yet to been seen and tried as criminals. Those are criminals. All of them. Every waking one of them. And the people they're aligned with, criminals. People who work for them, criminals. They're all criminals. You know how you would love to rope together the mob and throw them in prison for the rest of their lives and give their mob bosses the chair? Yeah, this is the new version of that. That's what that is. It ain't no different. Normalize putting people like that under the jail. Just like you would any other child molester and terrorist and child murderer. I mean, you give them the chair, right? Normalize it. So that's what I have to say, man. I don't fear anything. I don't fear nothing but God, man. At this point, I know what I'm saying is righteous, and I understand that I'm living in a time where it's not considered popular to think this way or say this way, these things, but like, I'm in the future. I'm already past all of this. And to watching 300 days of them terrorizing people to the utmost, throwing pee on the walls, smashing kids' heads in, blowing them to bits, and all different types of weird ish that I've seen. It's not time to be concerned about how this looks in 2024. I don't even think my mind is in 2024. I'm hopeful that sometime before the end of this year, most people will get on board with what it is I'm saying, but I doubt it. It's going to take several years, especially undo the nonsense of this country. And mind you, like I said, it's a whole generation of people that literally need to die. They're not going to change their mind. They're fully indoctrinated in this for 70 plus years of believing that they're spreading democracy and all these various different things that this country has been lying to their people about for years and years and years and years, making them feel like they're the center of the universe while taking their tax dollars and funding the worst things in the world and telling them it keeps them safer by allowing them to do it. Those people who really genuinely believe that, they need to die. They need to pass away so that the rest of us who have some damn sense can now enact balance. Literally. That's literally what needs to happen. So that's pretty much my thought, man. You know what I'm saying? We're asking for something that can't come right away, because you need the voting public to be smarter than it is right now, quite honestly. You need them to be a lot more cognizant of how their minds have been manipulated into supporting things that really don't add up. And some of them are too arrogant within what it is they believe in to change, even though that truth is now in front of them. It gets to a point where it's like, I'd rather be a patriotic terrorist than a treasonous balance creator. That's what a lot of them are going to feel. It's like, I'm not turning on my partisan, because look at what we've done. Look at the history of our flag. Look, like, that's where they're going to be on. And the reality is, it was never any good. You were being lied to. You were being coerced into being wrong. No different than most of those Israeli people over there who believe that they're better than Palestinians, that Palestinians deserve half the rights they do. Like, you're a generation of slave owners. Like, literally that. You're not much different than your ancestors in that regard. And the world's going to be a lot better when you're gone, so that you can't vote us into circumstances like this anymore. Quite honestly. And have us living in upside down day, where those who protest wrongdoing are wrongdoers, and those who do the wrongdoings are sultans. And you see the police enacting backwards behaviors to where they'll beat the hell out of people who are clearly asking for children to be saved and not murdered, and protect the murderers. I mean, all of these people, all of them, and they say they do it because it's their job. They need to be in prison. All of them. Like, literally all of them. And so that's what I'm calling for. That's what I'm praying for. Each and every one of you. All of you. Including you. If you're a cop that's been out there stopping protesters from enacting change in regards to the situation, you belong in prison. You're a bad guy. You're aiding and abetting mass genocide, murders in abundance. You belong in prison. Bdf 44. I thank you all for watching.